Okay, hello everyone. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and I would like to invite Trustee Burgess to provide the acknowledgement of traditional lands and water.
We acknowledge that we are on land and surrounded by water, originally inhabited by Indigenous peoples who have traveled this area since time immemorial. This territory is within the lands honored by the Wampum Treaties, agreements between the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Lenni Lenape, and the allied nations to peacefully share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. Specifically, we would like to acknowledge the presence of the Huron-Wendat peoples and the Three Fires Confederacy, Ojibwe, Odawa, Potawatomi. We are dedicated to honoring Indigenous history and culture while remaining committed to moving forward respectfully with all First Nations, Inuit, and Métis.
Thank you very much. With regard to our attendance at this meeting, all trustees are present, and unfortunately I need to call on the director to do a special order of the day. Could you please rise?
Mr. Michael Cruzley passed away unexpectedly on March 2nd, 2025. He was a longtime employee with Greater Essex County District School Board. He had been working as a custodian at Princess Elizabeth Public School. Michael had a deep love of his family, his wife Elizabeth, and his children Lillian and Jeremy Jacques, and Ted and Erica. He will be remembered for his sense of humor, his gentle demeanor, and his infectious smile. Michael will be missed deeply by the many people whose days were made much brighter through his kindness. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you.
On behalf of the trustees, our sincere sympathy to the family. Item E is approval of the agenda. I need a motion for that. Trustee Cook. Do I see another hand up? Trustee Buckler. All those in support? That's carried. Thank you. Any declaration of conflict of interest for this meeting? Seeing none. We do need to convene into private session. I need a motion. Trustee Malaki and Trustee Cook. All those in support? That's carried. We do have property items to discuss in closed session. So we'll return in about 15-20 minutes. Thank you. Okay, I'm going to welcome everybody back to our public board meeting. We have all trustees in attendance, although there's a couple not in their chairs right now, but they are here. We did take care of some business in closed session, so under H, I'm going to ask Trustee Buckler to rise and report from the closed session meeting.
Madam Chair, I'd like to move G1.
Supported by Trustee Leclerc. All those in support? Property matters. And Trustee Buckler?
Again, I'd like to move G2, a property issue.
Moved by Trustee Leclerc again. All those in support? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. Now I'm looking for a motion to approve the minutes of the board meeting from April 15th. Trustee Cook, Trustee Leclerc, are there any questions from those minutes? Seeing none, I'm going to ask for the vote. All those in support? Any opposed? That's carried. Thank you very much. We have student trustee report. Okay, go ahead.
Good evening, trustees, Director Houston, senior administration, and members of the public. Spring is finally here and our schools are in full swing with exciting events such as multicultural festivals, coffee houses, pep rallies, fit week activities, proms, and spirit weeks. Notably, Riverside Secondary School's first Women's Empowerment Workshop was a success. It featured women leader and artist trivia, blind karaoke, crafty activities, and information on Riverside's clubs and student life. We would like to wish our best to all athletes participating in the spring sports season. Our seniors are closing their high school chapter with events like senior sunrises and sunsets, senior sign-up videos, and other graduation activities. Our Student Nutrition Initiative is thrilled to wrap up our final report. We are currently working on a letter of recommendation for sustainability to continue the program at Colchester North Public School into the next school year. Thank you to Michelle Legere and Danielle Finlay for their commitment with this initiative. We are excited to announce that our Senator of the Month is Ava Argocello, a grade 12 student at North Star High School. She is an active and dedicated member of our nutrition committee and is always willing to take on research projects. She attended the Colchester North Public School focus group and engaged with many of the grade 7 and 8 students. She says, "Thank you for this honor. It's been a great experience serving on Senate. I've truly loved the opportunity to work with such an amazing group of students to help better our community." On May 6th, I had the opportunity to attend the Elementary Day of Champions at Sandwich Secondary School. I met so many wonderful students and staff who were taking part in the event. I would like to thank Miss Kelly Taylor, the principal at Tecumseh Vista Academy Elementary School, for extending the invitation. This upcoming weekend, Tianu and I are grateful to attend the Osta ACO AGM meeting. We would like to thank trustees, Director Houston, and Michelle Marcus for their support in attending this conference.
The student of the month for May is Ellie Friesen. A grade 10 student at Tecumseh Vista Academy, Ellie is a shining example of this month's theme of optimism. In a world where negativity can be overwhelming and hard to avoid, Ellie's ability to light up a room with her smile and warm heart radiates kindness and hope. She turns gray days into cheerful days of positivity and possibility. Students at TVA say Ellie is a kind-hearted team player. She is known for raising her teammates' spirits after a tough loss and encouraging classmates to take a deep breath before science exams. One of Ellie's teachers noted that she goes out of her way to brighten people's days. For example, when she noticed her student teacher was having difficulty connecting with students in class, Ellie made an extra effort to participate in the lessons and class discussions. She even brought her student teacher a small gift to boost their spirits and inspire hopefulness. In the community, Ellie is known for greeting customers at work with a cheerful smile and a friendly attitude. Her employers and coworkers look forward to working with her, knowing it will be a cheerful and uplifting shift. Ellie positively impacts students and the overall school climate at TVA on a daily basis. She is an enthusiastic supporter of school events and to encourage her peers to do the same. Quite simply, Ellie always sees the best in people and her optimistic outlook inspires her peers. Congratulations, Ellie, on being selected by Student Senate as the May Student of the Month for the theme of optimism. Sorry, we have the certificate to give you at the front.
Ellie, come on down, and if your parents want to come forward, they can come and take pictures. Congratulations, Ellie, from all the trustees. And if you would like to stay for the rest of the agenda, you're welcome. But if you would also like to sneak out, we would understand. Okay? Thank you for coming. Thank you. I'm going to move on with the chair's report, and I do have a report for this meeting. The first item I'd like to speak briefly about is the OPSPA Labor Relations Symposium. So on May 1st, myself and Director Houston were presenters on a panel with the chairs and directors of Grand Erie District School Board and Hastings and Prince Edward District School Board. Our presentation, which was an hour and a half long, was about supporting trustees in shaping the multi-year strategic plan, and it was very well received by everyone attending that plenary session. Director Houston and I incorporated details of our new governance bylaws, which turned out to be of great interest to many of the attendees, and with some of them coming forward after the session to ask for more details from us and to ask if they could contact us to get more information about our new bylaws. And on that note about our bylaws, I would like to mention that when they were first adopted in December, I do remember mentioning to trustees that it would be likely that the need for tweaking of related documents would be required as we move through the year in applying the new bylaws. And Melissa and I have been making a housekeeping list of those things that may have to come forward. And one that recently surfaced is the regulation regarding the Director's Performance Appraisal Committee. We are required, even though we haven't finished the initial process yet, we're required to confirm that we have a committee in the place for the next year. And we have a long-standing practice and regulation to establish the committee membership as the chair of the board, the vice chair, and the chairs of the standing committees. I suggest that we maintain this model. However, the small glitch that we have in our regulation, not in our bylaws, but in the regulation, it actually names our previous two standing committees, Education and Finance. And I would ask trustees if they would agree to continue the Performance Appraisal Committee as it is, with the understanding that it's the chair of the board, the vice chair of the board, and the chairs of the current standing committees. And then we can clean that up formally when we get to that. Trustee Burgess?
On that, but if you continue, I'm putting my hand up
Well,
just on that.
go ahead.
We have 3 standing committees now. So that would mean a change of including new people to the process, even though it's not completely finished to finish it?
For the new year.
Oh, for the new year. Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, and just a little side note. Trustee who? Trustee Malaki, you have a question?
Yeah, just a question about that process. So, like, we'd be, because the regulation says that we have to have that DPA committee for the, I know we're not done this cycle, but for next cycle by May 15th. So it's 4 to 7 trustees, so this would be 5 trustees, but and then we have our organizational meeting in December, right? Right, so what I'm asking is right now we'd be agreeing to continue with that tradition, but and then the chairs and vice chairs of those committees may change.
No, they're 2-year appointments. So they're for this year and next year.
Sorry,
we agreed that the appointments to the new standing committees would be for 2-year terms. So, yes, go ahead.
From my understanding from reading it is that the chair and the vice chair positions may change each year,
So
while the members of that standing committee do remain the same for the rest of the.
the director.
Through you, Madam Chair, when the original DPA committee, we were in exactly the same position, and the agreement at the time from the trustees was that they would continue even if they weren't in the role for the duration of that cycle of the DPA, and then the new through that cycle, regardless of the change in a chair or vice chair.
Correct. So that's how we've been doing it. Okay. So you're all okay with that? And then that'll be one of the little things that get cleaned up. Is that we will, from the regulation, we will actually just remove the names of the committees so that down the road, if we change the names, we don't have to go back and change regulations. It will just say the chairs of the current standing committees. Yeah. So those, it's a really good example of the little things that we have to clean up. Okay. If I can continue my report. So the second thing I wanted to mention was that on May 14th, it was my great pleasure to bring opening remarks to the Gender and Sexuality Alliance Conference for our students. I stayed for the whole day to take in this well-attended event, which was both enjoyable and informative. Then the next evening, on the 15th, I participated in the Celebration of Excellence Awards, and I was very honored to be able to present the 30-year service pins to our deserving staff, and especially one named Vicki Houston and the other Melissa LeBeouf.
She's younger than I am.
Yeah, I know. She started when she was 14. You started when you were 16. I get it. Yeah.
A little older.
And last, I just wanted to remind trustees that the 6 self-directed mandatory online training modules are available and must be completed by August 31st. Also, registration is open for the next webinar, which is scheduled for tomorrow evening. In total, there are 4 webinars which must also be viewed at some point. It doesn't have to be when they're live. But actually, we got an email this morning from OPSPA reminding us of the dates and topics of the webinars. So you can refer to that if you want more information. And with that, I end my report. Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have the director's report.
So, good evening. It's hard to believe the school year is already starting to wind down, but what a fantastic spring we've had. We're heading into the final stretch, so much to celebrate across the board, from neighborhood cleanup and multicultural nights to big wins at Skills Ontario and inspiring acts of leadership. Our students and our staff continue to shine. So on April 24th, WF Herman Academy's Eco Team participated in an Earth Week neighborhood cleanup. Students and staff received positive community feedback, and the initiative helped build environmental responsibility as well as school pride. Angeline Humber, who is a teacher consultant with the Greater Essex County District School Board, has been named one of the International Dyslexia Association of Ontario Literacy Leaders of the Year. As a passionate and advocate for structured literacy in French immersion, Angeline co-developed Sonograph, an open-source phonics program based on UFly foundations, and she helped to create Building Competent and Engaged Readers in French Immersion. Her leadership has empowered educators throughout the province through her coaching, her professional learning, and research-based resources. She's known for her kindness, look at that smile, her equity-focused approach, her tireless commitment to student success, and we proudly celebrate Angeline's extraordinary contributions to literacy, as well as her dedication to helping every student learn to read, not just those within Greater Essex. Over 900 students from across Windsor-Essex participated in an annual elementary and secondary Day of Champions, and thank you to all staff and organizers for making this a joyful, inclusive celebration of ability, achievement, and community. And we only had one rain day that we had to postpone amidst all of the rain that we've had recently. April 28th marked the Workers' Day of Mourning. This date is dedicated to remembering those who have lost their lives, suffered accidents, injuries, or illness on the job, or experienced a work-related tragedy. A flag-lowering ceremony was held at the GECDSB admin building, and exterior flags were lowered at all board facilities on that day. On May the 6th, grade 11 and 12 students at W.F. Herman Academy attended safety workshops delivered by the Workplace Safety and Prevention Services, and these sessions emphasized the importance of physical and mental well-being as students prepare to enter into the workforce. The board also issued occupational joint health and safety certificates of appreciation, which were met with much gratitude from the recipients, and thank you to Tim Lozon and his team for their hard work in making all of this possible. Congratulations are in order for everybody on the 2025 GECDSB Skills Team for their performance at the 2025 Skills Ontario competition. Noah Bergink from Sandwich Secondary earned a silver in precision machining, and Renata Veras de Valdez from Westview Freedom Academy took home a bronze in baking. 3 other students were also named in the top 10 of their competitions. Congratulations to all. We're so proud of your achievements, and a big thank you to our dedicated teacher mentors for guiding and inspiring the next generation of skilled trades and professionals. May 5th to the 9th was Employee Appreciation Week and Fit Week. I'm deeply grateful for the dedication, the care, and the energy that GECDSB staff bring to work each and every day. Their positivity is infectious and reflected in the smiles of all of our students. Our Fit Week committee planned an exciting activities across the system, including our annual walk at the administrative office. Our partners at Ontario Student Nutrition Program also helped to fuel Northwood's Fit Week with tasty and nutritious fruits, vegetables, and salads for the entire week. Schools across the board are celebrating and sharing their cultural traditions. Bellwood, William G. Davis, and Essex Public School all hosted incredible evenings featuring cultural displays, global cuisine, art, books, languages, and traditional games. A huge thank you is possible, and Sandwich Secondary will host their multicultural community night on May 30th from 6 until 8 p.m. The Council for Exceptional Children annual spring banquet is an evening of acknowledgement, honoring exceptional students who have risen above and beyond their challenges. The evening also celebrates individuals who bring meaning to serving students with special needs in Windsor and Essex County, and congratulations to this year's awards recipients. The GECDSB proudly hosted its 13th annual GSA conference last week. Students from across the board came together for a vibrant day filled with inspiring workshops and a shared lunch, and meaningful connections with incredible lineup of 2S LGBTQIA+ community partners. A huge thank you to Chairperson Hatfield for her thoughtful remarks, to all of our community partners, to our workshop leaders, and our dedicated staff volunteers, and of course a very special shout out to Walter Cassidy, whose years of passionate leadership have helped to make this work all possible. Marlborough's 3rd annual Arts Night, themed environmental stewardship through recycled art, featured powerful student work across music, dance, and visual arts, and a fantastic celebration of student creativity. Congratulations to Sadie Baker of Vincent Massey, who became the school's first wheelchair athlete to compete in track at WEXA, and she's qualified for SWASA with a 1.3 meter throw. This is an outstanding milestone for her as well as for our board. On Thursday, May 15th, we proudly hosted our Excellence in Service Awards. The event celebrated our champions for education and recognized employees with 30 years of dedicated service, And we also presented our Outstanding Service Awards to those who've gone above and beyond in their role. It was a night filled with inspiration and appreciation, some tears as we read out for the outstanding service recipients, and highlighting the dedication and impact of those who helped to shape and strengthen our board and our community. And then we have our upcoming days of observance. As we begin the month of June, can't believe it's just around the corner, we recognize and extend our best wishes to all observing religious or any cultural events. We wish a happy Father's Day to all fathers, guardians, and those who take on a fathering role. June 19th marks Juneteenth, a day that commemorates the end of slavery in the United States and celebrates Black freedom and achievement. We also acknowledge National Indigenous History Month and National Indigenous Peoples Day on June 21st, honoring the rich history, the culture, and the contributions of our First Nation, Métis, and Inuit peoples. Finally, in celebration of Pride Month, GECDSB will raise the Pride flag at all board facilities, and I am so proud of all the ongoing work in our schools to affirm and uplift our 2S LGBTQIA+ staff and students. Your voices do matter, your presence matters, and we remain committed to making our schools a safe place, inclusive spaces where everybody can be proud of who they are each and every day. And if anybody has any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Do we have questions? Well,
Thank you.
appears not, but thank you so much for highlighting all those great things that are going on in our school board. Thank you very much. There's no new business. We're now on to reports from our board committees. And the first one is the Policy and Bylaw Committee, pages 8 to 30 in your package, with the recommendation that the board approve the policy and regulation naming and renaming board facilities. Moved by Trustee Buckler, supported by Trustee Malaki. Anything on the policy? Trustee Burgess?
I had a couple of questions, but the policy and the reg are naming and renaming, and yet in the bulk of the thing, it's just called the naming committee. I don't know if we struck the renaming just so that it would just be simpler, because it's going to be naming, whether it's brand new or renaming. I'm wondering if we can just strike the word renaming anywhere it's in a title. That's an amendment I'll put out there.
Right. So moved by Trustee Burgess that the policy be continuous in the wording of naming and renaming. Do we have a seconder? Trustee Buckler? Okay, any questions on that? Then I'll call the vote. Oh, Trustee McKinley?
Yeah, maybe I missed something in exactly what the motion was.
So throughout the document, Trustee Burgess said that some places it just says the naming. So she wants it to be consistent throughout the document that it's naming and or renaming. Naming and renaming.
The amendment is to strike the words "and renaming" from any time it occurs, like in the title.
Oh, so sorry. So your amendment is for the document to say naming only?
Yes.
It's for the name of the policy to be naming of board facilities, and for the regulation to be naming of board facilities, to strike the word "and renaming," because renaming is mentioned and it does happen. It's one of those things. But the committee name has also been changed from the naming or renaming committee to the naming advisory committee. So just the naming is
naming. Naming. Okay, Trustee McKinley? thank you for clarifying, Trustee
Okay,
Burgess.
so my understanding is you're wanting to, on the title of the policy and regulation, remove and naming? And, yeah, and renaming part will be removed in this motion, this amendment. I'm not quite sure.
Because renaming is just part of the process. It doesn't need to be part of the title. There's a process for renaming
Okay.
in the regulation. Any other questions? Trustee Burgess, for the second time?
I beg your pardon, because I was obviously at the policy committee when this, but reading it over again, on our page 13, page 407 of the reg, under 3.0 committee meetings, obviously it says the naming advisory committee. There's a second paragraph there, and I'm just wondering if we need to insert the word general, because I think without the clarification, it might be interpreted as something else. The committee, so the second paragraph in under 3.0 committee meetings, the second paragraph, we have it in green. The committee will hold a minimum of 2 meetings, which will be open to the public to attend, but not to provide any direct input at that time. And I know what it is, but it mentions committee and the public. So I wondered if we could put in the word general public between the word open to the general public, because direct input, as far as input comes in between, like the first meeting and the second meeting, there's a focus group input, there's input from what people have, discovered is, the committee may have new input, but the audience that's there to observe and not participate necessarily, have direct input. So I was just wondering if I could suggest that. I don't know if it's necessary, but I read it and I thought, I wonder if people think that, like, there's no input after the first meeting or, at any meeting. So the committee, so I'm suggesting you put the word general in between the words the and public on the first line of the committee will hold a minimum of 2 meetings, which will be open to the general public to attend, but not to provide any direct input at that time, so that it's clear that they know that they're part of the audience and not direct input. Well, there may not be a
Open to
supporter
the
for that
public
amendment.
to attend, to observe? Is that what you're talking about?
She wants to add the word.
So,
Yes.
It's already stating that beforehand that the meetings will be open to the public. The meetings will be open to the public. The second line, the committee will hold a minimum of 2 meetings, which will be open to the public, right, to attend, but not to provide any direct input at that time. I just don't know if it's clear enough that the not have direct input is not from the public, but it could be from the committee.
Before we go forward, could I just ask, did we actually have a vote on that other amendment? I thought there was an amendment to remove.
We don't even have it on the floor yet.
So the change in the word for naming and renaming, we just had a, just
So we
had,
don't have the motion, the main motion on the floor for discussion.
okay. So why don't we deal with one amendment at a time?
Point of
Okay.
order. I think before you can deal with an amendment, you have to have the motion on the floor, the original. So how do you amend something that's not on the floor?
I'm saying we don't have a motion on the
I
floor.
thought Trustee Buckler, didn't you move the, I thought you did. I thought Trustee Buckler moved the recommendation from her committee. No? Okay, let's back up.
No, we're going right back, right back.
Sorry, it's getting a little bit mixed up here. So I thought that Trustee Buckler had moved the recommendation from her committee, but apparently that hasn't happened yet. So Trustee Buckler.
I'm going to move that. Do I have support for it?
Okay, so do we have a seconder? Trustee Leclerc. So on the motion, trustee Burgess has made an amendment to remove the word and renaming from the title. And do we have support for that? Trustee McKinley. So can we vote on that title? Okay. All those in support? Okay, that's carried. Thank you. Your second amendment? On the main motion amended? Your second amendment?
So the second amendment is to insert the word general on page 4 of 7, 3.0 in the second paragraph. So it makes it very clear that the general public won't be able to provide any direct input at that time, but the committee will. So to insert the word general between the word that and public on the first line of that sentence.
I don't understand how that clarifies it.
The committee will hold a minimum of 2 meetings which will be open to the general public to attend, comma, but not to provide any direct input at that time.
Sorry, I'm not seeing how the word general provides a clarification. Maybe someone could.
And I would suggest don't vote for it. That's my amendment. If somebody
Do
doesn't support it.
Do we have a seconder? No. No. Okay, thank you. Anything else anyone wants to propose to amend? Trustee Armstrong?
Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. On page 10, it talks about names to be considered should be thoroughly examined so as not to perpetuate or represent a legacy of discrimination. There's no details of vetting, etc. We ran into quite a difficulty last year. And is there anything in this policy that will help us not go through that again? Thank you.
Could you identify that exactly for us here? Okay, so the vetting process is goes through the director's office, I believe. Yes.
Supplemental. So there's no details of how that occurs. It's not mentioned in here. Does it have to be? When it says thoroughly examined, what does that mean? Thank you.
Okay. Do you want to respond, the director? Someone else?
Yeah, so
Trustee
Madam Chair,
Leclerc?
I think the issue is that a policy describes the process, but it doesn't necessarily go to the granular level to explain exactly what that process would mean, because this policy was in existence prior to the internet, the current policy. So obviously internet searches wouldn't have been used prior to the internet, and now there's internet searches. We don't know what processes we might have in the future. AI as an example, will we include AI processes as part of that vetting process? So I think the important thing is that we've articulated that there will be a comprehensive vetting process. And I think one of the terms of references when a committee starts the work is that they might want to define the scope of what that vetting process might look like, so everybody on the committee is aware of what the vetting process would be, what steps will be taken, and what reports the committee would get back. But you can't mandate exactly. Thank you.
And I would just add that so that process does go through the director's office, and so when the report comes to the committee, it would be up to the committee to ask for some further steps or some questions on how it took place or whatever. So that would be through the committee work. Trustee Malaki?
Sorry. Just to add on that point too, I don't think that it has to address on a granular level, but just in response to Trustee Armstrong's question, I feel like that is already addressed on page 14, section 3.2. The list will be reviewed through an equity lens and for proprietary and adherence to GECDSB name selection criteria. Consultation takes place, but not limited to various GECDSB advisory committees, and then it talks about focus groups of students and staff and community members. So I think that's satisfactory.
Thank you. Anyone else? Trustee Chin?
Is this question on the main motion? It's still on the main motion, right? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. My question is that as for the roles of and responsibilities on page 11, and it's not quite clear what's the roles of the trustee in the naming advisory committee. And as we know, last time in our board, there is a lot of chaos and debates. And it's clear that the policy and is not very clear in how to process those kind of controversial, comments and name list. And in this policy, it just said the board of trustees can provide an alternative name or refer it back to the naming advisory committee. I think this provide an alternative name is too simple that it didn't really, show how to respect the work of the naming advisory committee. And it seems only, one trustee or several of you can make wholly changes and can put down all the work of the naming advisory committee. So I hope the process, the new policy, and can provide a more detailed process to avoid such kind of conflicts. Thank you.
Okay, so this, just for clarification, it is the responsibility of the Board of Trustees, not the committee, to name a school. And it's always been in there that an alternative name can be proposed. That part isn't new, just the way it's laid out here is new. So either if there's a direct question or an amendment, that you'd like to propose?
My question is that the previous policy clearly showed that it has shortcomings, and when the school board of trustee has an alternative name, and they put down, all the naming advisory committee's work down, and just give a new name and vote. So I think we are lack of a procedure to respect the advisory committee's work, and how if such serious conflicts happen, how can we handle that? Because we experienced a very bad example before.
So do you have an amendment to propose?
Yeah, I want to refer it back to the policy committee to give a better policy to handle this kind of conflict. I think it's a harm to our school board's reputation.
Do we have a seconder to refer this back to the committee? Trustee Armstrong, you're seconding the motion to refer it back?
When I ask how to say, a named vote, recorded vote. Yeah, thank you.
Trustee Chin?
Yes.
You're done speaking to your motion? Okay. Trustee McKinley?
Yeah, I was on the policy committee that did a lot of this work, and in fact, we talked a lot about it. But to be honest, we gave a lot of thoughts. We threw out a lot of thoughts at our director and Melissa LeBeouf, and they miraculously took our thoughts and got them put on the paper that we then see before us. And I'm quite happy with what we've landed on after they interpreted everything that we threw out there on the table while we were discussing all of this. And it didn't happen over one meeting. This was over numerous meetings. And I want to thank the director and Melissa personally for the work that they also put into this policy, because it just is. I don't want to see it go back to the policy committee because I think it's quite well. The last naming was very unique. Very, very unique. We're not likely to ever have another unique situation like that one with multiple schools from different regions, different counties even. So I don't think the likelihood of what happened before is about to happen anytime soon. I've been on a lot of naming committees, and that was the first and only time that we'd experienced what happened with the last one. So no, I don't want to see it go back to policy committee. I think it's very well written the way it is, and I plan on supporting it because there was a lot of work there. Thank you.
Trustee Leclerc?
Yeah, I don't support the referral. The committee's done an immense amount of work. Quite frankly, I think that we're doing this because of what happened before, and we've had a naming policy. It's worked many times very successfully. This was, I don't know, a constellation of unfortunate events that resulted in some controversy. Whether you supported the name or not, I don't think there was a failure of policy. So I will support the policy as it's written and presented tonight.
Trustee Burgess and then Trustee Cook.
Thank you. I'm not going to name anybody to give rebuttal, but I do want to say that when you make a policy at policy committee or at any time, it's for always until it gets amended again or revised again. And this has come back to us, I believe, I'm going to say 5 times in 4 years, something like that. So every word has been examined. That's not to say that it's perfect. However, I will not support referring it back because we really tried very hard. And this came out for public consultation. It went out to the public for full consultation. Every single person, every public education supporter could have had their input and influence us at policy committee. We were updated with whatever the public consultation gave us. So, and there weren't any great revisions after the public consultation. I do want to address the fact, though, because we're looking at one particular line and it keeps getting beaten up, and it's not really facts we're sharing here. So, on page 6 of 7, where it says provide an alternative name, that's been there for a long time. There's a reason why that's been there for a long time. We are governors. We do govern a district. We don't look at one particular municipality. The role of the area trustee has changed dramatically in this regulation. And I think that to suppose that it was never vetted or hasn't been vetted, an alternate name, is false. Let me say that unequivocally. Every name that has been put forward at this board has been vetted using the criteria that my colleague here referred to on page 5 of 7. It was vetted. It has been vetted. Every name has been vetted. So an alternative name would also be vetted. So that doesn't change. Referring it back to make something clear to relieve what I heard as chaos, etc., and pulling down all the work of this didn't happen. An alternate name came forward respectfully, didn't pull down anything. It met the criteria of the board and the overwhelming majority of the board. So the thing that's being referred to, the elephant in the room, is not being described correctly. But I do want to say that we did have full public consultation on this from the whole district. So that's why I support it, because we looked at it very well. And I too want to thank administrative support in collating all of the information that we had prior and changing this so that it is a good, solid regulation. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Cook.
Sure. I just want to say that I can't support it going back to the policy committee, and I agree with Trustee Leclerc, Trustee McKinley, and Trustee Burgess. I think the biggest thing in this policy that we see is that the decision is ultimately the board's decision. So whether it's one trustee putting a name forward or it's the committee, it comes back to the board, and we're the ones that decide. So I don't support the amendment.
Trustee Armstrong?
Just for clarification, we will vote on sending it back to the committee. Does that mean we also have voted on this? Oh, okay. All right. Thank you.
Didn't you have the last word, and then I'm going to call the vote?
Yes, I have a question regarding the consultation. And as we have experienced, there are a lot of people as speakers who speaks how unsatisfied they are for our naming, process. And I guess that voice is bigger even than the consultation that we had recently. So I want you to consider those kind of complaints and conflicts and dissatisfaction to the board as a committee, so we can try to make the process more fair, more clearer, and just provide an alternative name is too simple to solve all the issues. I don't think. I appreciate a lot of work have been done and it's good, but obviously this cannot, solve the previous issue. Even it happened only once these years, but it still happened and it caused a lot of damage to our board. So I do want us to think more carefully about how to develop a better policy to smooth those kind of procedures and to improve the relationship between the board and the communities and listen to the communities. It's not right to just put down their name list, as the whole advisory committee, and we come up a totally new name that they are not satisfied. They already, mentioned how bad the acronyms are, and we ignored, and we just mentioned that we have it
Point of order.
vetted.
How is this on the
Wrap up,
referral?
No,
Trustee
we-
Chin. You just wrap
we
up
didn't-
on the referral.
on your motion. On your motion. Just
Yeah, I'm
finish
telling
your-
the facts. What happened before?
No,
We
just-
should draw a good lesson from that.
Okay.
We cannot just ignore that and say we have the final right, and then we can do everything we can. It's
Okay.
not correct.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to call the question. All those in support of referring the policy back
Recorded
to
vote,
the-
please.
to the committee. All those in support? Trustee Armstrong and Trustee Chin. Okay. All those opposed? We can list everybody else's name. Nelson, McKinley, Leclerc,
All the original, please.
Buckler, Hatfield, Cook, Burgess, and Malaki. Okay? McCowie. Sorry. I always put together your two names, and that's what I come up with. Sorry.
Question.
Okay, that's, we're going to move on. If you're done, I have an amendment that I'd like to put on the floor. This is a small thing, but I think it will improve our format. So I'm talking in your board package on page 27, the school renaming request form. There's a form to fill out if you want to put in a request to rename a school, and there's little check boxes. Are you a school council member? And then I think community representative should be amended to say community member. Then I think student representative should just say student. And then I think there should be a checkbox for staff. And my reason for taking out representative on both community and students is because it would be a hard task to substantiate that someone is actually representing an organization. But if they are, they can put that in their rationale that, I belong to this group and we're asking you to do this or whatever. And I wouldn't want staff to just tick off the box community member. I think staff should have a box as well. So I'm putting that amendment forward to that form.
I'll support that.
Seconded by trustee McKinley. Any discussion on that? No, thank you. Do you want to call the vote? All those in support?
Oh,
Go ahead.
sorry, I have another question. For the main.
On my
Yeah.
amendment?
Yeah.
On the amendment?
Oh, okay. Not. Oh.
Okay, just call it. All those in
I'm going to call the vote on the small amendment here. All in support? It's unanimous.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else on the regulation? Trustee Chin and then trustee Armstrong. Trustee Chin?
Thank you. On page 14, the naming criteria, the one said must be distinctive and appropriate within an emphasis on, but not limited to, local historical events. And this is on page 14, but on page 26, the script for chair of the naming committee, and the first dot, it said local history or persons of local importance. I wonder why we put persons here, especially different with the previous naming criteria. Pardon?
Sorry, I'm not sure what your question is.
Yeah, I mean, the two naming criteria is different. One is local historical events, and the paragraph after that said careful consideration should be given before naming a school or board facility after an individual. But on page 26, the criteria includes persons of local importance there. So why is different?
It can be historical names, but not people who are currently alive. Is that what you're asking? Trustee
Point 4
Burgess?
information.
Sure.
In 3.1, the last sentence of 3.1, no school or facility will be named after a living persons.
Correct.
Posthumous
yes,
names
could
are
be,
allowed.
Yes. Okay. That's your answer?
But still, it's kind of inconsistent, I think. Yeah.
Trustee Armstrong?
Yes, I will not be supporting this motion because it has not addressed what happened last year. And I understand Trustee McKinley said that that was something that may never happen again, but the students are still not okay with it. And we didn't listen to them. There's nothing in here that directs how student input and community input are to be listened to. So I will not be supporting this.
Okay, so
I want to note some offense that
Point
students
of-
weren't listened to. I want to note personal offense because there
Point
was
of order.
a direct reference to what happened last year. So everybody was listened to.
We're dealing with a policy, not an event. Trustee Cook?
I was just going to say that we need to move forward. What happened, happened. It was a board decision. We move forward. We keep bringing it up. We're here for the kids. We're here for the success of students, and some are stuck. Some trustees are stuck. Get unstuck. Move forward. What happened, happened. So is it going to happen again with all the naming that this board has done? There's been I don't even know that there has been any other issue what happened. It was a one-time thing. Let's just move forward and do some good work. I'm tired of hearing about it. And let's just work on this policy moving forward. Let's go. Enough.
Excuse me.
Call the question.
Moving forward is not to ignore. The problem happened there?
Madam
and
Chair,
it's
point of order.
serious.
Point of order.
But other trustee can speak
point-
directly without asking for permission. Why I cannot?
Okay. Your point of order, Trustee Leclerc?
So 3 times I've asked for the question to be called. And on all 3 of those requests, you have to acknowledge that and decide whether or not the question's being called.
I haven't yet been able to announce, because trustees have been speaking, that we're now moving on to the main motion as amended. And that was moved by trustee Buckler. The main motion supported by, was it trustee Cook? I don't remember who seconded it. Oh, trustee Leclerc. So we're now on to the main motion as amended. And I'm going to call the question. All those in support?
I've
Any
already asked the
opposed?
recorded vote, please.
You asked that for your amendment.
No, I said both
Yes.
for the main
No,
also.
you asked that for
Now
your
I
amendment.
asked, okay? Now I
Okay,
asked, it's
okay.
not passed yet.
Okay, all those in support or all the trustees around the table, we can list the names, and opposed is trustee Chin. We can record that. Oh, and trustee Armstrong, sorry. I didn't see her hand. Okay, thank you. We're now on item B, the Finance and Facility Services Committee. Trustee Leclerc, do you have a motion you'd like to put forward?
Yeah, I'd make a motion that the board approve the attached borrowing bylaw number 433, bracket May 2025 bracket, and if necessary, I'll speak to it.
Have support for that? Trustee Cook, any questions on that? No, we can vote on that motion. All those in support? Support, it's carried. Thank you. Are there any questions on the committee report? I have one question. Your most recent meeting, I just want to know, were there any delegations come forward on the public consultation on the budget?
No.
The next report is the Learning Equity and Wellbeing Committee. You have a report. There are no recommendations coming forward. Are there any questions on this report? Seeing none, I just have a comment. I just wanted to thank the committee for overseeing all the achievements of our senior team in the areas of strategic planning, dismantling anti-Black racism, leadership development, and our equity action plan. A lot of good work reported there from the committee meeting. So thank you very much to our senior team for all those accomplishments. Moving on to statutory committees, we don't have anything under audit. SEAC, there are minutes there for your information. Do we have any questions on that? No. We don't have a report on the website. There are no advisory committees, trustee committees. APSPA report. That's an oral report. That's an oral report. Who's doing that?
The next meeting will be different. Thank you for reporting on the labor and human relations symposium that has been held, and our participation in it was great. Very well received. I did that as a personal PD on my own thing. I did attend my second last board of directors meeting after that. That summary is on available website. I won't take time up. I did attend the week after that policy development. It was our last meeting as a work group. I represent Western Region on behalf of 5 boards in the John McGivney Center, and we did have a year-end kind of summary, a year-end review summary of the work that we did, and it was substantial. So I was very pleased, and thank you for allowing me to act on that behalf. I will be running for re-election in that position, but that's a re-election, so you never know. So thank you for this last year and that work on behalf of Policy Development Work Group. There will be an annual meeting coming up in Niagara-on-the-Lake, and we will be voting for all kinds of regional positions, and it's going to be difficult because it's going to be elections. It's nothing, nobody is really acclaimed. There has been a vacancy for the first vice president, and it's going to be an extremely difficult decision, and I will be reaching out, we will be reaching out to get your thoughts on that. It's a private matter, it's a secret ballot, but there are 3 exemplary candidates that I know that are vying for that position. So
for that last year of the term. Our GECDSB resolution that we passed at the last board meeting will go forward without the express endorsement from the exec council. They wanted it referred to the policy development work group, which it may end up there. That might be amended, and that's where it'll end up there. The urgency of it was if it goes there, chances are it won't make the actual amendments to the municipal elections information in a formal way before the nomination period for the 26th election. So we're hoping that we can convince folks that a police clearance would be nice to have in the reg before the next municipal elections, but if not, it'll go to probably the policy development work group, and for the next round, it probably will make the cut. So that's that. And yes, and thank you very much for everybody who's been participating. We mentioned it, the mandatory professional development series of the modules, that one tomorrow night. OESC is that group that's, Catholic, public, Francophone, code, and we OPSPA contributes greatly to that in staff and work. And our participation in these modules that have been made mandatory through regulation are being tracked. So our participation is really important to maintain that input that OPSPA has into it and support that they give to us. So obviously OPSPA was a primary member of OESC. And that's it. Thank you very much. I think that we also have a candidacy for regional chair and vice chair in Trustee McCowie for Western Region. And he's also on the OSTA-ACO liaison committee as well. And as a director now on the board of directors following the last meeting of the next board of directors, he qualifies to be a vice chair of the region as well as chair. So we look forward to that, and I endorse his voting for him.
Are there any questions of the OPSPA report? Seeing none, we're going to move on. There's no business under Q&R, and we're now up to announcements. Do we have any announcements for this meeting? Oh, seeing none, then we have reached the end of our approved agenda, and I will declare the meeting adjourned at 7:50 p.m. Thank you very much, everyone, for your time.